Ay, 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 this is getting exhausting. But you know what? The fact that you are here watching this video, listening as to what the newest updates are, that says to me that this topic is still relevant. And that is my ultimate answer to those who keep on asking, Lego, why the hell do you continuously make videos about this topic over and over and over again? Let's dive into the latest in terms of the Vancouver Canucks and the JT Miller situation. Because according to Patrick Johnston's newest article, I think things aren't really looking all too good, man. It's not. And I'm going to leave a link in the description, of course, to our ExpressVPN affiliate page. You can go out there and check it out, get some free months on your VPN, save some money in the process, and help out the channel all at the same time. But also linked in the description is this article by PJ on the province from earlier this morning. For a JT Miller trade, it's surely the Rangers or bust. Sure, the Hurricanes may have kicked tires on a Miller trade, but they seem well below New York in terms of interest. Now, we will take our zone of interest and focus on a bunch of different conversation points that PJ writes about because these are all very damning. In fact, the article's pretty short, so we're going to take the juiciest parts of it and lay it all out here in a video. Take a look at what PJ opens up the article with. If JT Miller's time as a Vancouver Canuck is truly near its end, it's going to involve the Rangers. Forget any other team that may have been connected to the situation via other insiders. No, the Carolina Hurricanes aren't really an option. Neither are the Stars or the Devils. A source suggested to the province that Carolina's interest remains pretty minimal. Like every GM out there, they'd be interested in a deal if they could win the trade. And that's not just about Miller, it's about what else would be included in a potential deal. If, for instance, the Hurricanes were to move Jesperi Kotkaniemi, that's spelled incorrectly by the way, and Jack Roslovic, they'd likely need another forward going back to them just to make the roster work. So really, all eyes should remain focused on the Rangers. That deal seems to be the closest to becoming a reality. It would seem that the holdup remains how the deal would be structured. To move Miller, the Canucks are going to have to attach some sort of sweetener, whether that's salary retention, which you suspect the Canucks don't want to do, or adding a prospect, of which the Canucks don't have too many of, and the few good ones they have, they don't want to deal. And so we wait. All of us. Those on the outside, obviously, but also people inside, like the Canucks, in the dressing room, who do look like they're waiting for another shoe to drop, and they've been waiting a while now. We had seen in other commentary by other insiders, I think it was it Chris Johnston, or was it Pierre LeBrun or Drager, or somebody said that the JT Miller-Pettersson trade talks were pretty much holding up the market. How other GMs and other teams who were trying to make other trades couldn't really do anything because they needed to wait for this Miller-Pettersson thing to be resolved so that the market would get their prices set and that everybody could continue on. Because it's like, okay, we can offer you our centers, we can offer you our players, but if you're going to be getting JT Miller because a whole bunch of teams are involved in asking about him, then you might not need to get our guy instead, and we don't know the prices of everything and how we can compare and contrast. So this Miller-Pettersson thing has been apparently holding up the market, and now we're hearing from PJ that the Vancouver Canucks are going to have to give up some sort of a sweetener to get it done, either holding up Miller's salary, retaining some of it, or they have to send away another prospect? It's not going to be Miller for whatever and whatever. It's going to be Miller and an Elias Pettersson or something. The defenseman, not the forward. Or a Miller and a Kudryavtsev. Or Miller with 25% salary retained. Or something like that. Ay, this is getting worse, guys. Even Rick Dollywell said on Donnie and Dolly earlier today, the offers haven't been great for Miller and it's been a tough go trying to move him. By the way, Taj did tweet out some of the same stuff that we had seen from that PJ article. The Hurricanes have minimal interest, the Rangers are the only real possibility, the Rangers deal seems to be the closest to becoming a reality, the holdup remains how the deal would be structured, and the Canucks may have to attach some sort of sweetener in form of a retention or prospect. And now we are seeing replies like this. If this is all true, don't trade Miller. How many 100-point players are making less than $8 million? Regardless of Miller's age, the fact that a team would expect the Canucks to retain is absolutely ridiculous. It's handled so badly in the public eye. To find out now after multiple weeks, they seriously can't pull the trigger now. See what offers come in the offseason. If this is the truth, you cannot trade him away. He is more valuable to the Canucks on the team than not. You can't retain or sweeten the pot. That's insane. Either keep him and trade EP40, or write off this season and make a trade in the offseason when you have more suitors. And this, ultimately, I think, I don't want to say it like derails the season, but if anybody was going out there and still believing in the Vancouver Canucks to make the playoffs and do some damage and build upon what they had seen last year, if this is the case, I don't know how we can realistically believe that to be a possibility. I mean, the team is in shambles. They're losing terrible games like they had lost against Buffalo the other night. They're playing Edmonton later today. I mean, you don't think the Oilers are going to want their revenge? We can make another video about that, by the way, because Friedman did have some comments to make about that game. But the Canucks, I mean, they haven't won 2 games in a row since the start of December. Miller has been so hot and cold. He has a 4-point game one night, and then the next one, he's making turnovers and he's lackadaisically back-checking. I get that at his best, he is a 100-point player, and he can do all this stuff, and he can take over games, and he can take over power plays, and he can take over shifts. He's a very good player. That's why he's paid the amount of money he is, and it's why he had 100 points. But I guess, with all the conversations about Miller's play declining this year, plus the concerns about his attitude and his locker room presence, now we're seeing teams say, okay, wait, hold up. Are we getting a 100-point player in this trade? Or are we getting an inconsistent, checked-out, lackadaisical, yelly guy whose contract is all of a sudden seen as a problem here? Now, the Canucks are being asked to retain. Like, this is just stock market dynamics at this point. I'm not saying the Canucks should have traded JT Miller last year, for example. That's definitely not the angle that I'm going towards in this respect. But last year, none of those problems existed. And if anybody were to go after JT Miller in a serious trade that they actually wanted to go out there and accomplish, they wouldn't have had any second doubts about taking him on at full salary. $8 million a year, yeah, okay, that's not as much as some of the other top superstars in this league. But now, because of JT's inadequacies, this is what we're thinking about. Hey, you have to retain. Sorry, we're not going to get him on for full salary. Hey, you have to add on a prospect for us to take him on. Sorry, we're not going to take him on by himself. Like, this is the dynamic that the Canucks are having to work with here. The team has been so poor, JT Miller has been declining, Elias Pettersson is unhappy, and now everybody's talking about whether or not this guy's even going to get traded at all. Wait until the offseason now, why don't you? Wait until teams actually have salary to spend, and then try to get your best offer. But for now, this 24-25 season is a total wash. And the frustrating part is we know the team has the talent to fix that. We know that they have the capability of going out there, winning a bunch of games in a row. Miller has the potential of getting 2 to 3 points every single game. He is that good. Pettersson too. But I think Rick Tocchet said it best. This team, it's almost like they are just deferring to other players. Elias Pettersson especially, he doesn't like to take control as he had done in the past. He just passes it off to Hughes when he has a really nice wide open lane. JT Miller, he's not looking his best either. There's a lot to be desired when it comes to this darn team. And ultimately, if they're not able to get some sort of a trade done in this season, you could kiss those playoff chances goodbye, man. They're not going to make the playoffs this year. Are you kidding? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Vancouver Canucks and this entire trade situation going down the way it has, where now we are seeing Miller potentially be traded in a salary retention deal. The Canucks are going to have to add. Now it's not Carolina. They're not going to go out there and equip this guy. They're not going to go out there and trade for this guy. It's just New York, it seems like. So if this PJ article is to be believed, this situation for JT does not look good, and I want you to let me know in the comment section below, how do you feel about it all? Should the Canucks even trade JT at this point? Considering the circumstances, considering the sweetener, considering the Canucks having to retain salary, all this stuff combined, what do you think about the idea of a Miller trade? Is it still possible? Is it still something we have to think about here? Or do you just decide to trade Elias Pettersson now because the Miller price has gotten too out of hand? We had seen yesterday, Pierre LeBrun said, yeah, no, the Canucks are interested in getting futures back. But if they're going to have to give up the futures themselves, why would they do this? Why would they trade away JT and add extra on top of that? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.